Welcome, everybody, to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of Punch Drunk Critics. And on this week's show, I don't have the fancy graphic behind me this time because I'm lazy. We are talking about Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore. And this is the third film in what they want to be a 5-movie franchise. I don't know if it necessarily needs to go 5, but at least in my opinion, this is at least a rebound from the last one, which I still couldn't tell you what happened in that movie. I don't know what happened in the Crimes of Grindelwald. I have no clue. If you asked me, I couldn't tell you. And when this one started, I didn't remember where anybody was. I was like, oh yeah, Queenie's over with the bad side right now, but I don't remember why. And then I was like, okay, well, you know what? I don't even care. But in this one, at least, we got Dumbledore and Newt Scamander battling against Grindelwald, who is now played by Mads Mikkelsen, and he is not only trying to start a race war, essentially, between the magical world and the Muggle world, but he's also vying for the highest position in the magical land. And that's really the gist of the plot. You got some stuff going on with Ezra Miller's character Credence as well, who we learned was a Dumbledore in the last film. Some stuff going on there. You got some stuff between my two favorite characters, Queenie and Jacob. But yeah, this one is, and as you can see, I'm joined by fellow writer Cortland Jacoby. Hello, Cortland.
Hello.
This one is a lot easier to describe than the last movie was. This one is refreshingly simple, in my opinion, but it doesn't mean there aren't deeper layers to it. What were your thoughts about The Secrets of Dumbledore?
I thought that it was a lot more streamlined than Grindelwald. There was so much stuff in Grindelwald that half of it I don't even know what happened, and then I'm pretty sure stuff happened in Grindelwald that either wasn't addressed in this film or was completely different.
I wish I had watched it again. Now, my friend who came with me said that she watched it just a couple days before in order to get ready for this one, and she still wasn't quite sure about everything, which tells me that I probably would be wasting my time if I watched it. So, but I think you're probably right. I think there's probably a lot of stuff that happened that was quietly dropped.
From what I remember about the Credence situation of him being a Dumbledore, it was implied, at least I got the implication that he was like a brother to Dumbledore, to Albus and Aberworth, and
that's what I thought,
and not a nephew like it's revealed in this film. Which makes a lot more sense, and maybe like if you are a fan of Harry Potter like I was, when you hear that in Grindelwald,
you're a fan.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about the controversies surrounding this film a little bit later on. But yeah, I would classify myself as like a reformed Harry Potter fan. But if you're a fan of the original books, you'll know that, the Dumbledore family tree is pretty much set in stone. So when that was revealed in the previous movie, it was like, where is this coming from? We're contradicting ourselves again. So, overall, I thought that it's the second best one of the trilogy so far. We'll see if it gets 2 other ones. I thought it was overall a little bit anticlimactic. It was trying to be a little bit too simple, I think, because it's valid criticisms of the other film. So yeah, I thought it was fine. I think it redeemed itself narratively. We'll leave it at that.
I think so too. And I liked the somewhat reduced cast size. I felt overwhelmed by the number of characters in the last movie, like some of whom I don't know where they all went, but I know there were a lot of characters I couldn't remember from the last one. And this one felt smaller. You had Jessica Williams' character in there, who I'm actually a really big fan of. I liked her a lot. in this movie.
I like her. I feel like it took a little bit of time to get used to that character. I mean, we see her a glimpse in Grindelwald. But in this, you kind of get that 1920s radio announcer voice the entire time. And that's a little bit grating at the beginning. But I did really like her performance. I did roll my eyes at the beginning when she rhymed, like in a normal monologue, she rhymed stranger in danger and then didn't rhyme anything else. And I audibly went, oh my God. But other than that, that's not really her fault. But yeah, I did like her character though. I like what they, I like that they're adding a lot more color and diversity to that world.
Yeah, me too. And then the other character too, the French guy who was one of the Lestranges.
Yes.
Whose name right. I liked him as well for the little bit that he got to do, but he was actually kind of a pivotal character towards the end, which I really liked. It's a smaller group. It's a smaller team that Dumbledore has assembled for this, and I liked that we got to see a little bit of personality from each of them. I thought that was a good thing. Newt was not the sole focus, and I'm also a big fan of Callum Turner, who plays his brother Theseus.
Yeah.
And I've been a fan of Callum Turner for a while. He was in Green Room and Tramps and stuff like that. And I'm a big fan of his. I like him. He got kind of an expanded role in this one, which I really enjoyed. There's a lot of little things that I liked about this. And I really like Mads Mikkelsen's Grindelwald. He's by far the best of the three we've seen so far, in my opinion. But he also has the most to do in this one with the simplest agenda in this one. The most understandable agenda. So maybe that to do with it.
I also think he had the hardest job. I mean, and it's probably a job that only Mads Mikkelsen can do is kind of go in there, take over the role for someone else who is surrounded by controversy. And I like that he played it kind of simply. I like that he didn't try to do anything crazy with it. I like that there was still some hints of the Johnny Depp version there, but there is also this like terrifying stoicism that he brought to the part as well, which I appreciated. I really, I've always been a fan of Mads, but now I'm even more on the Mads Mikkelsen train.
Yeah, and the question now is this his final form, or do they cast somebody else? Because the first two movies, Grindelwald has changed form with each one.
Yeah.
Do you just stick with him? Because I think he's not. Mads Mikkelsen's not going to bring any controversy, most likely, compared to the previous guy, Johnny Depp. In fact, it was funny at the end of the movie. Somebody was talking about it. Somebody behind me, I have no idea who it was, and asked, "Do they bring Johnny Depp back for the next one?" And I almost burst out laughing. It's like, you must be out of your mind. Of course not. They've got other issues to deal with for the next movie now. Like,
I never thought of them bringing a new Grindelwald in, but I kind of like that. I kind of like each
one having a new
iteration, having a new one. It's very like Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, but instead of death, it's because of scandal.
I hate that movie, but anyway, I get what you're saying. But yeah, the problem is Mads is so good though, and I kind of want this to be his final form, or maybe save another one for the fifth movie. Like maybe you get like an even bigger star or something like that to be the final form of Grindelwald or something like that. But I don't want this to be the last I see of Mads as him, and I think I know that much. And he's really good in the scenes that he got to share with Jude Law as well, and
especially at the beginning.
Right, there was some nice confirmations about Dumbledore and his feelings towards Grindelwald in this one. They didn't dick around with it either. They just kind of came out and said it, and which I think was really good. They just kind of said it and dealt with it and let that be it. There wasn't a lot of pussyfooting around it. Right. I thought that was a good approach for them.
Absolutely, I completely agree. As somebody who, as an adult has struggled with how J.K. Rowling has approached Dumbledore's sexuality in the books, kind of hinted at it.
In light of a lot of things that she has,
but specifically about Dumbledore's sexuality, she kind of pussyfoot around it, and then she did this performative activism thing where she's like, "Yes, he is gay," and people latched onto that. Yeah. I like that they were very open and honest about it. I mean, we didn't get to see anything, which is a shame, but it's okay.
Well, we don't know that they actually ever acted on that either. It just sort of didn't sound like it.
At least, yeah. I mean, it is sort of implied that it is almost one-sided at
It
times.
sounds like it's unrequited, is what it sounds
Yeah.
like. That he felt
or
Mads probably manipulated him because
yeah, or that Grindelwald,
Grindelwald manipulated
tolerated it. Yeah,
Grindelwald manipulated him because he knew how he felt, probably.
Yeah.
I think that's probably how it ended up going. But
if I could go back to what you were saying about Callum Turner, I really thought that, and it's not just his role, but also with Jude Law's Albus, that we got to see a little more personality from both of them, and I really, really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Jude Law's Dumbledore, I saw glimpses of Richard Harris and Michael Gambon's performances as Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series. I loved that. I didn't feel that way with Crimes of Grindelwald. It just felt like a completely separate person. And
a lot more playful. He's kind of a scamp in this.
Yeah, which is a little bit of the Richard Harris. Like there was a one point where he said something with like an S. Like it was like he really leaned into this like S sound when he was speaking, and immediately in my mind was like, oh, Richard Harris, nice. But yeah, I really liked that performance, definitely.
So what do we think about the future here a little bit with the Credence character, who I won't reveal what happens to him in this one, but
I think
it kind of leaves an out for them if they want to do something with Ezra Miller, who we know is making himself an untenable presence in this franchise and multiple DC franchises at this point if he keeps it up.
Warner Brothers, yeah.
Yeah. Warner Brothers franchises. I thought he was fine in this, but it almost felt like it was designed for him to get out in a way. But I don't know if that's the case. I don't know. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. It sort of ends as a way that could go either way. We could see him again, and then also we could not. And I liked that. I really like that. The interesting thing is that not very often can you say that there's precedence for a scandal in a franchise. And so if what's happening with Johnny Depp, what happened with Johnny Depp, if that's happening with Ezra Miller, then he might be ousted from the series altogether. So to be honest, they did not rely on Credence in the Obscurial as much in this movie as they have in the two previous films. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that he is more of a follower and more of like a task man for Grindelwald in this one than he
was much more of a threat in the last.
Yeah.
Than he was in this one. He did feel like a sidekick character.
Yeah.
He did before, but I think that was all part of the streamlining process.
Yeah. and also I think the streamlining process for due to like Ezra's controversy, but also the franchises, streamlining the franchise in general, just trying to make it more direct.
Yeah, it really needed to do something about that. The obscurial thing is still something that I don't quite understand. And the person I was with didn't really understand it either all that much. To me, it still needs a little bit of explanation, but we did get some more talk about obscurials and who may or may not have been one in this movie, I think if I remember right, that's what happened. So, but yes, go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I was going to say, that is part of the Harry Potter books as well, is that you do find out that Dumbledore's sister Ariana is an obscurial, but it has a different vibe in the Harry Potter, like a different purpose in the Harry Potter books than it does.
All this stuff is confusing to me. And I've read through the book. I've read plenty of wikis on Harry Potter, and I'm still kind of like, oh. Stuff, so maybe I'm just...
What did you think of the use of the creatures in this film? Because I really liked it. I thought
the scene where he's having to kind of like lobster walk.
Yeah,
I think that whole sequence, it's a fantastic sequence all the way through.
Right.
With him and Theseus is one of the best scenes in all of Harry Potter to me. It is fantastic. I laughed through it. It is a lot of fun. This movie felt more fun.
It did.
It's a lot more fun. Jacob was fun again, and stuff like that, because he's my favorite character.
Fogelman or Fogel. Oh my gosh. His first name I'm forgetting.
Dan Fogler.
Dan Fogler is so good in this role,
He's
and
so fantastic in this.
I was coming around to the movie because of him.
Yeah, he's great.
He's so good.
He's really great in this. I love Jacob since the first time he showed up in the first movie.
Yeah.
Second movie, I don't think I liked really much of anybody in the second movie. I was just so.
And it felt like a step back for the character too.
It really was.
Like too putsy, too much of a schmo. Yeah.
This was much more him. He's a really lighthearted character, and of course the kind of the heart and soul of the whole thing. I thought at the end. Something was going to happen for him at the end of that movie. There, I thought I'll just say I thought it was going to be him for a second. I was like,
me too. I was like,
I kind of teased it for a second there earlier, and I was like, huh? Okay, let's see. But no, it didn't happen, and it probably shouldn't have. But he's really fantastic in this. I was a little disappointed we didn't get to see more of Catherine Waterston because I do like her as well.
I had some issues with how they addressed that. Have they publicly come out and said why she is barely in this film?
Not that I know of, but it could be something that I missed, but I don't think so.
Because I mean, if anybody would know, Travis, it's you. But I also don't feel like they addressed it very well. Like the very beginning, Jessica Williams' character's Lolly, says, oh, she's off being the head Auror in the US and not there for some reason. And it was kind of like, for me, I thought that she might have been pregnant at one point. Like it just that's why she's not there, to protect her unborn child, which if
she got the Rose Tico write-off. It's like at the beginning of the third Star Wars,
absolutely,
where they kind of wrote her off, like, "Oh, she's here doing this," and he didn't see her no more until the end.
He does.
That's what it felt like, and I was like, "What happened here? I was like, what? Why is she not part of this?" Now, look, there's apparently 2 more movies. It could totally be. She could be a much bigger role, because I imagine if it's going to come to a head, the entire Wizarding world is going to come in and be a big part of this huge, gigantic battle. And the Federation or whatever is going to have to be a part of this or something. So she's going to have to. I feel like she's going to get brought back in a big way at some point, and maybe that's what the conclusion of this movie was kind of leading to. But I missed her presence. I'm not going to lie. I did. I missed it.
I did as well, and I think some of the Queenie stuff didn't hit as hard for me because there wasn't that sister figure there as well. Trying to save her. I guess you kind of get that a little bit with Yusuf being a Lestrange, and of course Grindelwald in the previous film kills Zoe Kravitz's character, Letta. So you do get that a little bit, but Queenie was really hit or miss for me. I loved her in the first film, didn't like anybody in the second film, and this one there's a little bit of redemption there.
I just like them as a pair. Her and Jacob.
But even in this film, you don't get that a lot. I mean, Jacob can shine on his own really well, and I don't necessarily know if Queenie does.
He can be one-dimensional if she's not with somebody else. I think that's a problem.
Absolutely.
So I think Jacob kind of makes her a better character. But when she's alone, she can be kind of a one note character. So
and if I can just shout out Eddie Redmayne for a minute, I really do love how much he loves that character. Like there's so much love when he plays that role, and though I definitely have problems with the film, I love how he plays it, and I love how it's coded as like Newt having some sort of autism. I love that that's sort of coded as such, and we get to see kind of a neurodiverse wizarding world a little bit, and I thought he was great. If anything, I wanted a little bit more of Newt. I mean, it is very much an ensemble film in a way.
It's no longer like his movie. Like you feel like the first one, the character that we knew the most about was Newt Scamander, like before, during, and after. And then it's like from the second movie on, it's become much more of an ensemble,
Mm-hmm.
which it's fine. I think the characters in this movie, they did a better job of balancing it, and I think in this movie they did a better job of letting him play off of other characters, which I think he kind of needs to do as well, to bring out other sides of him. Pairing him up with his brother, I think, was great for a lot of
brilliant, yeah, because from what I remember of Grindelwald, there is more tension between the two of them, and here we really get to see a brotherly relationship and a wonderful kind of almost like joking, protectful older brother vibe from Callum Turner. So
I'm the one who found like the blue collar wizards kind of funny. Like I just like I like because there's the whole government thing. You have like riots going on, and there's a big election going on. So you got like protesters out and stuff. But I found like the middle class wizards just kind of funny. Like I'm trying to imagine like how they even like, if you're a wizard, like should anybody really be middle class? Like it doesn't even feel right. They were dressed like peasants from like the 1930s or something. And the whole thing just felt weird to me. And I was like, this doesn't quite make sense. Like I feel like, okay, if you're gonna have like this clear like social structure here, like this, maybe even like a caste system or something here with the wizards. Like, I feel like they shouldn't still be dressed like we are, like we were back then. Like,
right,
like that whole thing didn't quite click with me. It just felt strange.
Well, I mean, there is a precedent for that in the series. Like the Weasleys always dressed a little bit more frumpy dumpy than everybody else. So maybe that they were trying to do that with an entire demographic of people.
Yes, they were. Just felt weird.
Yeah. Did you feel like the parallels between our current political climate?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like it was too on the nose? Because there were moments where I was like, okay, all right, like I see what you're doing here. Like it kind of, I felt like it hit over the head a couple times.
I don't think it was so obvious. I just think that we're not stupid. I mean, we just kind of know.
Yeah.
I think anything at this point that has someone who's clearly striving to be a dictator, or someone who probably was using bigotry and division to rise in the ranks of power, is going to strike a chord with all of us at this point. And whether it happens in this movie or some other movie, we're always going to think about a certain person first, because it's unavoidable. And until that person is gone from this world, we're always going to think about that person first.
Well, I just thought that there's like, it was funny that there's almost like Wizarding World voter fraud. And so when you get the current, and also this was confusing because each country has their own minister of magic, but then they're also voting, I guess, like the king of all of them. Like that wasn't explained very well.
I don't know if that was something that I'd ever heard of before, that they had like this overall person who kind of.
Yeah, that I don't remember that at all from the Harry Potter books. So that was a little bit.
That was odd to me. That kind of took me by surprise. I was like, huh? I was like, this is what they do? Okay.
But that guy is kind of he commits voter fraud, which I think is very very reminiscent of January 6th. Like they almost have their own January 6th riot.
Yeah, it was very close to that. And he also did some stuff that they did in real life here, which is, lie to you right to your face and tell you, and basically gaslight you. Like they gaslight you right to your face. Mm-hmm. It's basically what they did in this, and what they did, what they are in some cases still doing in real life. Yeah, so, there are obvious parallels very clearly. But yeah, for me, this is a big step up. I'm glad that I enjoyed this, because the first Fantastic Beasts got me back into Harry Potter. Like it had been a very long gap since the finale of the Deathly Hallows, and the first movie got me really excited for it again, and the second movie took me right back out of it, like to the point where I was like not interested.
But I will say the second one came out also when the controversies surrounding J.K. Rowling and her TERF and anti-trans sentiments started to show, and then the whole Johnny Depp abuse scandal was happening like at the beginning of that.
Yeah.
And so now we're getting we're kind of, I guess we're kind of out of it. I think the J.K. Rowling stuff, I'm interested to see if they do 2 more movies, which obviously this film is dependent on, or which is dependent on this film, sorry. If J.K. Rowling will be as integral to that. If she will still be a screenwriter, if she will still be a major producer on it.
She did get a co-writer for this one.
She did get a co-writing credit, which, you know, I think I'm a little bit more of a social justice liberal kind of person than you are. And so to see that like right away was kind of jarring, especially since, you know, they had the Harry Potter 10-year anniversary recently on HBO Max. She wasn't a part of that at all.
Yeah.
So for them to do that, Warner Brothers to make that decision, but then still keep her name in the credits and all of that. And I know there's contracts and legal involved, but that's a really interesting dichotomy there.
Yeah, but if I remember right, the addition of Steve Kloves as a writer came, I think, before the controversy really took off. That I could be wrong, but I think that's how it worked out. But I think she might just need a co-writer period anyway. I think this movie felt different than the other one, and I thought that was probably a good thing. And this one took a long time to get made because of that. There were delays as they rewrote the script and things like that, and of course COVID played a role. But I think she probably needs a co-writer, and Steve Kloves has obviously done his history with the franchise and has done a good job here. So you might see this dynamic stick around for the last 2 movies, because I think they'll still do the 2. I figure.
I don't know, because I've barely seen any marketing for this. I mean, I've seen it on TikTok and that's about it. I haven't seen any web stuff. I haven't seen any commercials. I've seen nothing. I think
the opposite for me. So
oh, really?
But
yeah, I haven't seen much marketing, and I don't know where the fandom stands.
This is the biggest franchise they have. They're not going to skimp on it. And I don't think they're going to cut back on it, because even if the movie does Crimes of Grindelwald numbers, the franchising, the merchandising, all that kind of stuff alone is going to net them in the billions. So I don't think they're going to skimp on it. I think they'll do the last 2, and then they will figure out what the next series of,
especially internationally. I bet it'll do well internationally. I don't know how well it will do domestically. I mean, I was telling my mom, you know, I'm glad that I don't have to give any money to J.K. Rowling. Like, I can see it in a screener and not feel guilty that
How does your mom like it?
My mom loved it. She loved it.
Good.
Loved it.
Yeah. I think that was a consensus among people in the room. From what I could hear, It sounded like people really enjoyed it.
I think it's a lot lighter, and I think, you know, you hit the nail on the head. Steve Kloves, you know, if J.K. Rowling is the heart behind the books, Steve Kloves is definitely the heart behind the films, and you didn't get that with the previous 2 Fantastic Beasts, and the heart wasn't there, and there is a heart here. I will say that the whole film felt kind of anticlimactic to me, and I think part of that is they don't know where this is going. We could get 2 more films, but I also feel like if they wanted to end it as a trilogy, they absolutely could as well.
I think they realized people needed a happy ending.
Yeah.
For this movie.
Because also they don't know what the controversy is, what's going to happen.
Coming off the back of the last one. Well, the controversy sprung up afterwards. I mean, the movie's long since been done. So I don't think that's the case. I think
the Ezra Miller one, yeah, but the trans and TERF stuff has been going on for 3 or 4 years. If
I'm honest, I don't think Warner Brothers is factoring in all that much. I really don't.
They did enough for the Harry Potter, so that's the other thing.
Yeah, but I think they're going to move on and keep going with how things are with her, and it'll probably work out in the end. But I feel like they knew, coming off the back of that last movie, and this actually being, you know, like you said, the 10th anniversary, to give people a happy ending for this one. And happy endings tend to feel anticlimactic, especially when you know the villain is still out there. So, I think that's what I think the next movie will not will definitely not have a happy ending. But
I also don't know where it goes from here.
It was good to get the middle section of like I said, a proposed 5 movies, and to not have the automatic, really grim finale, because that's usually where the middle section goes.
Yeah,
it goes somewhere really dark. So it's good to have something different.
This definitely had the vibe of like the first 3 Harry Potter films, where you know that something else is going on and happening that's darker down the line, but it ends on a good
Still
note.
A lot of stuff hanging around out there that they need to touch upon. So, but anyway, Fantastic Beasts, Secrets of Dumbledore, step up in my opinion. It sounds like, Cortland, you agree.
I agree. It's still problematic, but I agree.
All right. Well, Cortland, I thank you for coming on and talking with me about Fantastic Beasts. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I am Travis Hobson of punchdrunkcritics.com. This has been Cinema Royale. You can find me every day at punchdrunkcritics.com. You can find me on Twitter at punchycritic and Punch Drunk Critics at PDC Movies. Cortland, you can find at Port Cortlandia. I think that's what it is.
Yep.
And that's it. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you next time. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.